I promise you.
They're wondering when you took over as cruise director.
That's right. Jim Folsom was one of the most colorful figures ever to grace Alabama's political scene. This massive figure of a man, 6 feet 8 inches tall, weighing more than 250 pounds, rewrote the book on how to politic in Alabama. Younger generations should not be misled by the Jim Folsom they knew, a feeble old man, legally blind, making one pointless race after another for governor. The Jim Folsom of the 1940s and 50s was a political marvel. Born in Coffee County, Folsom attended Alabama for 1 semester, then dropped out to enter the Merchant Marines. In 1936, at the age of 28, he made his first political race. Running for Congress against incumbent Henry Stegall, Folsom didn't come close. He tried again 2 years later with the same results. Folsom then moved to Cullman to pursue his career in insurance, but politics remained uppermost in his mind. In 1942, Folsom made his first race for governor. His candidacy was considered a joke, but his second-place finish suggested he was a man to watch. 4 years later, promising bigger old-age pensions and farm-to-market roads, Folsom was elected governor. It was during that campaign that he introduced country music to Alabama politics. After a stormy term in office, Folsom sat out for 4 years, then ran for governor a second time in 1954. No way, the experts said, could Big Jim win again. He won by a landslide. It was during that second term that Big Jim's political stock began to drop. Far ahead of the times in race relations, Folsom publicly scoffed at efforts of hardline segregationists to preserve what they called the Southern way of life. When the legislature passed a resolution which sought to nullify the school desegregation decision, Folsom called it hogwash. He even dared to invite a black congressman to have a drink with him at the mansion. Folsom made one final serious bid for governor in 1962. He appeared headed for a runoff with his one-time protege George Wallace, but an unbelievable election eve TV appearance in which he appeared to be drunk, he later claimed he had been drugged, cost him any chance of victory. Folsom was a candidate in every gubernatorial election since, but never got more than a handful of votes. Jim Folsom in his prime was without equal in Alabama politics. He had a genuine compassion for the less fortunate of this state, and it mattered not at all the color of their skin. And to his everlasting credit, Jim Folsom never forgot the debt he felt he owed to the people of Alabama for the trust they had shown in him. Even late in life, feeble, blind, oftentimes in pain, when there was an occasion where former governors should be present, Jim Folsom was always there. There will never be another one quite like Big Jim. And who among you who lived during his glory days will ever hear the strains of Y'all Come, his campaign theme song, without being reminded of that gentle giant?
most restaurants never get over 78, as you know.
Some people have been concerned that now that the prison system is out from under the court order, that the legislature is out from under the gun, so to speak, as far as its role in helping to solve the problems that we're facing in the prison system, that perhaps we will backslide, that we'll get back into another situation that led us to this type of court order in the beginning. How do you react to that?
Not at all. You know, the legislature really helped us with this, and wasn't just a leverage of a court order. The reason they helped us is because we turned it around and started showing the legislature how we was really, if they would give us this amount of money, how much money we would save. And all of our budget requests and all the meetings I have with the legislature is always couched in the form that look how much money we're saving. We've done model things that the legislation that helps the individual members of the legislature with their peers in their counties and so forth. Like we have renovated today some 22 jails. I'm about to go down to Monroe in a few minutes, where we've completely renovated their jail, which saves the counties millions of dollars. We've repaired school buildings.
This is with prison labor.
Yes, and the legislature loves that, and we're going to continue to do that.
Along those same lines, do you feel comfortable with the capacity of the prison system now as far as alleviating the overcrowding in the county jails of state inmates? Are we completely away from that problem as far as the backlog of state inmates?
Most definitely. One of the strange things now, there used to be a strained relationship between the counties and the state, and between the sheriffs and the Department of Corrections, especially for many years. But now it's been completely turned around, and I have sheriffs calling me constantly now and wanting to know could they check out a few state inmates to help them in their counties, because there is no overcrowding at all of state inmates, and our projections show that will continue at least until after our construction of our Union Springs facility.
What is that going to do for you as far as your overall plan? Who's going to be at Union Springs, and what size facility are we talking about?
That would be a 600-man work camp. 200 beds of that facility will be, in effect, a mental hospital for those inmates with psychotic personalities and so forth. But the rest of those inmates will be checked out daily for that part of the state, to work on the county roads, to improve that part of the state. That's really the secret that Governor Wallace suggested to me, and that is work the inmates. And each day, like in Jefferson County, we check out nearly 270 inmates a day to clean up Jefferson County. And they're working all over the state. And we're the only state in the nation that's doing that today.
Are these inmates that are the 200 inmates with psychotic problems or any psychological problems? How does that differ from the Taylor Hardin secure care facility? Is this two separate animals we're talking about now?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if there was. I assume the Taylor Hardin was for the criminally insane, and I assume that's different from what you're going to be doing at Union Springs.
That's correct. Really, the difference is the intensity of the treatment.
Okay. Well, I think that pretty well covers it. Any parting thoughts as as you look back over this? Any highlights, lowlights?
Well, I'm just jumping stumps. I'm just thrilled to death. Really, it's just all myself and my staff can do to constrain ourselves. It's just, we're thrilled to death.
Well, that's great. Congratulations, Freddie.
Thank you, Bob.
Let me get some.
Apple and peach orchards all around that. Starting to get into organic gardening now at each institution, so that during the summer months, the institutions will, in fact, each institution will grow their own food. The rest of the products will be canned and dried and so forth for the winter months.
Self-sufficiency is amazing, especially within state government.
It can be done. It can be
Been done. Why not? The kids won't be there. There's no reason we can't take 10 or 15 inmates into a school and scrub down the walls, scrub the restrooms. Some of our schools just, because of maintenance cost, has not been cleaned properly. There's no reason the schools can't look as good as institutions,
Well,
when we first started the SR program, and interviewed some people, some of the inmates live, and the comments that y'all got was that the inmates felt like interned by doing this work.
that's the thing that some of my friends had worked in. You're going to have to talk to him now because he's getting cutaways of me. So tell me about.
Today, we've done 22. We hadn't really got any coverage on that because Norman's going to do a documentary on that for us. But you know, the counties were strapped for funds and still are. And many of the counties were under court orders, 14 of them, as a matter of fact, because of fire hazards and health standards of the jails, and the county simply did not have the money to do it.
Trustees and all of the guards that they use, you know, to help them on the towers and things like that, are all murderers, because he says that, you know, the statistics have shown them that they, most of those crimes are committed.
The government asked us to pick out the best ones for him. That's why we picked
Or something like that.
Just like one day over at 501 Adams, I had locked myself out of the office, and we have an inmate works over there, and I asked him, I don't know, you just stereotype that they can all break in places, you know. I said, how about breaking in?